I've always been fascinated by people and their stories. And I always think if I hadn't done sciences, physics in my case, I probably would have studied the humanities. Now, being Irish, a love of storytelling isn't particularly unique. However, my job is because I get to apply my love of science, physics, maths, to my love of people. I get to uncover the human stories hidden within big data, and I get to try to stitch them into a narrative of the individual and the company. Now, why I'm telling you about this? Well, because I want to share with you a story about a project I've worked on over the last few years, where we've been building the platform that would allow us to start to compile this narrative. It's called Project Breadcrumb, and the story started 2 years ago. When we think about people and their stories, we think about interactions. I mean, nothing much interesting happens with a person just sitting on their own talking to themselves. So it became fairly obvious early on that we needed a system that would allow us to capture, model, and analyze the interactions between people. And I was specifically interested in interactions that are derived from social collaboration and communication data, something which folks often call systems of engagement. I looked around to see was there any solution that would meet my needs, and there wasn't. So I knew I'd have to build something completely new. And also, it would be something that I couldn't build without the expertise from across IBM. And this is lesson number one that I learned, which is don't ever be scared to ask for help, because you'll find in the IBM network there's so many people willing to help. So that's what I did. Now, in my case, I had a bit of an advantage because I've been part of the social business division for years. So I've always believed in social networking. And as a result, I have a very diverse and broad network of IBMers that I could tap into, which is actually the lesson number two, which is don't underestimate the importance of having a diverse, active and engaged network, because it's hugely valuable. So we put together a small team of developers and designers to start to build the system. Now I ran into my next problem, and this is lesson number three, which is problems are there to challenge us, to cause us to reflect, so consider them a good thing. If you can't solve the problem, then it's just not meant to be. And in my case, the problem was the following. Today, people tend to think of analytics, particularly big data analytics, as a tool that large corporations use to manipulate them and that governments use to track them. And IBMers are no exception. So I couldn't build a system that would analyze IBMers if they fundamentally didn't want to be analyzed. So I had to address this perception issue. I had to prove to them that we could build a system that would meet their needs, but most importantly, address their concerns. It would have to respect their privacy and be transparent about what it was doing. And then with the management team, I had to help them to understand that while the data was indeed IBM data that we were analyzing, the insights that we would generate could be personal to an individual, and then they had to be treated as such. And I also had to demonstrate to them that taking this employee-centric approach to privacy would ultimately generate the greatest value for IBMers and for IBM as a whole. So the way we changed minds was we decided we were going to do this project in a completely different way. Instead of creating a dedicated team and do everything in a box, so to speak, we were going to make it open and collaborative. We were going to bring together people from across IBM, from the different geos, different business units, different roles and backgrounds, and make this a transparent, open project. We were going to truly make this a system that was built by IBMers for IBM. Or for IBMers themselves. So that's what we did. So over the next 2 years, we built the first version of Project Breadcrumb, the platform, and we built our first solution, which was called the Personal Social Dashboard, and it's a digital engagement and reputation system. We launched it early this year on SoftLayer, and so far we have 10,000 plus IBMers using the system, and we get hundreds of requests to join each week. For me, I think I've just learned so much on this project. It's been a huge honor to be part of it, to work with such amazing folks, but most importantly, to play a small part in changing the conversation around analytics and privacy. Because I fundamentally believe that we as a society, we have to address this challenge if we want to realize the true potential of analytics, which is putting personal and actionable insight into the hands of every citizen.